Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. How are you all doing? And welcome to course number 2, Intermediate to Advanced Trading Strategies. I really hope that you have enjoyed course number 1, and a huge congratulations to you if you have made it through course number 1, and especially if you're now finding profit in the market. My ultimate goal is to help people in the market because we have to be incredibly grateful for what we have in life in terms of if we find success, the best reward after that is to teach people what you know. And like my friends always say, and my parents always say that are close to me, strong people always reach out a hand to pull other people up. People are never above and they are never below each other in life. They're always on the same level, but sometimes people are in different stages in life. And because of that, it is ultimately up to us to try to extend a hand and pull them up. And that's what I want to do. I've had so many failures in the market that I now know how to be successful. And without failing in the market, without failing in life, without making all these mistakes, without all the bad, there would not be any good that we can appreciate. And without the sour, there's no sweet as well, right? So this course number 2 is guaranteed to propel you to the next level of trading. If it doesn't, you guys are not reviewing it enough perhaps, and you got to put in a little bit more time. And this is what I know. This is my bread and my butter. I'm trying to teach you guys something from my perspective that has made me successful in the market. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that I'm the best trader out there. I don't think I know everything whatsoever. There's so much that I don't know, but just like in life, it's a learning process. And what we need to do is just keep trying to grow, whether it's in areas outside of trading, whether it's with ourselves, whether it's with family or career, it's anything at all. We have to constantly strive to grow as a person, as an individual, so we can keep learning more. Otherwise, we become complacent. And once again, I failed so much in the market, folks, that I now know how to be incredibly successful. And I've actually had no mentor. I've had nobody teach me. I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos. I've read a lot of books as well. And I've been teaching myself through simple trial and error and through losing a ton of money. That is now how I'm able to actually prosper and profit in the market. I've had many jobs, ranging from being a chilled beam designer in HVAC to a project manager in the HVAC construction industry to selling office equipments for Sharp. So I've had many different jobs that I've paid fairly well, ranging from say $40,000 to $70,000 a year Canadian, which was very good, right, for entry-level positions. But what I really found was that we were just slaving our lives away. Or what I found for myself was that I was putting in a lot of work for another company to see them make money. And it made me realize that a salary was just a bribe from a company so we could forget about our dreams. It's kind of sad to see it that way, but that's how I actually felt. And I also felt that the harder I worked, someone at the corporate ladder higher up than me was basically getting a car. I know it's kind of sad to think of it that way. And then I started to realize that my time is much more valuable than this. So as you guys know, I started trading in the market about 3 years ago. And I don't regret it whatsoever to this day. So let's talk about a quick breakdown about what this course is going to offer. And then I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about me on a much more detailed level, stuff I've never talked about to anyone before in the crypto space. I want to motivate you guys. I want to tell you where I come from and my philosophy and values and morals and my ethics and where they lie in life as well, because it really does relate to the market. What we have to realize is that the market is not all about making money and profiting. It's actually about discovering who you are. And that is the freedom that this market, crypto, actually allows you to have. With the freedom, you will find out quickly what kind of personality you have, what kind of person you are in general, what kind of character you are, what kind of person you would like to become. And with this freedom and amount of time, I can guarantee you that you'll discover things about yourself that you may not have ever known before. So let's do a quick breakdown. So once again, welcome to course number 2, the Intermediate to Advanced Trading Strategies. So in course number 1, of course, we talked about that already. A lot about the general topics, which we're actually going to cover again. That's for lesson number 2. For lesson number 3, so just to backtrack really quickly, course number 1, right? It covered so much material, guys. An incredible amount ranging from Fibonacci retracement, Fibonacci extension to a little bit of price action for candlestick analysis, for moving averages, and we'll actually go over the course pretty much video by video in very short detail to summarize each one, because you guys need to have a strong fundamental background from course number 1 in order to understand the majority of the topics that I'm talking about in course number 2. So for lesson number 3, we're going to talk about Bitfinex, because it's still a very popular exchange and a lot of people still trade on here despite the very little volume right now. I believe it has one of the best user interfaces, and it's actually a great exchange for shorting. So we're going to talk about how to use the interface step by step, not just how to set things up on there, but also how to actually use that site, how to set up some small user interface settings, how to short, especially how to place limit orders. We're going to explain margin trading in much more detail, and also the potential risks associated with it as well. So this is going to bring you guys to a different level in terms of being able to play the uptrend and also being able to capitalize on the downtrend as well. And as you guys know, the majority of my profits are actually from a downtrend. So I like to make money by betting against the market. We're going to talk about how to put in stop losses as well. We're going to talk about little tricks and little hacks that I've learned on that site. We're going to talk about the fees as well and how limit orders compare to market orders as well. You don't ever want to do market executions nearly as much as limit orders, guys. And we're going to get through the commission and how they can vary. And we're going to talk about my volume that's traded as well, and how much I'm actually paying in fees, okay? So lesson number 4, we're going to talk about how to read level 2. Level 2 simply refers to checking out the price action and looking at the order book. And if we actually look, it ties into lesson number 5 very well. And level 2, there's so many tips and tricks with learning how to see hidden walls, learning how to see different counts, learning how to see how many people are stacking up in the accumulation, learning about a very advanced type of strategies that you might not have known before, where if you actually keep a close eye on the level 2, you're going to get a very good gauge of what's going on. And in lesson number 5, we're going to talk about price action and momentum changes. So the way that I see the market based on price action, the best instantaneous and change that you will ever see in real time is absolutely going to be price action, where if you relate that to level 2, it will give you an instantaneous real-time change of what is going on in the market. And especially during real-time heavy volatility, you will actually be able to see when the momentum is rolling over. And as these momentums roll over, for example, we saw Ripple, right? Just to give you guys a very quick idea of what's going on. And I don't mind showing you guys this whatsoever, because this right here is actually going to be the Udemy 20 trade challenge. So let's go over to Ripple just to give you guys an example of what I'm talking about, okay? Like right here, okay? Just in September, what we see is Ripple spike up by about, how many percent was that? Like 200%, right? And because actually way more than that. It went from 27 cents to, what did it go up to there? 27 cents to, I don't know why it says 200%, because clearly more than that, right? I mean, if you take 27 cents, that's like 300 something percent actually, if you look at it like that. But anyways, when you're trading during heavy and very volatile times, you want to be able to know how to read this right here, guys. You need to be able to read this very, very well to get a gauge of what the information is telling you, who is buying, who is selling. And we're going to go through this in very heavy detail to a point where you guys are going to be just absolutely blown away by the information that's going to be provided. And then number 5, that also relates to like 5 and 4 are very, very similar. Just to be very clear, right? We talked about 5 just now, but we're going to talk about the actual momentum changes. Let's say, like, just as an example, you're trading on a 5-minute chart or even a 1-minute chart sometimes, okay? You guys know that in penny stocks, it can swing up and down in minutes by 10, 20% sometimes, okay? And it happens like that as well in crypto, especially when a coin like, say, Ripple ends up moving 5% in 2 minutes. You don't want to be trading it on a 5-minute chart or a 10-minute chart when there's things moving 5% in 1 minute, right? You want to trade on a very low time frame. And we're going to talk about how these momentum changes roll over and how they oscillate like a wave. For all you math geeks out there, like a sine wave or a cos wave that just oscillates, right? Or any wave in general. And then lesson number 6, guys. Number 6, which I'm very excited to go over with you guys. It is going to be an introduction to Elliott wave theory. Now, this course is not an Elliott wave theory course, okay? I'm going to show you guys what you actually need to know. What you need to know to be successful in the market using Elliott wave theory. We don't need to learn absolutely everything and every corollary out there for Elliott wave. We don't. We don't need to know all the advanced strategies and be exclusively an Elliott wave trader. I personally don't think that it's necessary. The way that I like to view it is that I like to see it as having so many skills up your sleeves, having an arsenal of weapons that you know how to employ and use specific ones in different circumstances. And Elliott wave theory, an introduction to it, will give you a very broad understanding of it. And then for number 7, that's going to be the more intermediate one where we're going to be talking about corrections and WXY and WXYZs and ABCs and ABCDEs and failures, etc. as well. Okay, so that's going to be a very good 2 courses for Elliott wave theory, and by the time you guys watch it once, twice, or thrice, you'll have a very thorough understanding from course number 6 and 7 of how I use Elliott wave and waiting for volatility to short the market. And once again, I love to short the market. And lesson number 8 is going to be an incredibly important one as well. Understanding compound interest and setting realistic goals. We're going to talk about the mental game, guys. That's all that trading is about. It's about the mental game and how we are going to prepare ourselves to make sure that we can adapt our mentality to succeed, what we can realistically expect in the market, how we can grow a very small account into an astronomical one, how we can actually reduce our risk, how we can wait for the trade to come to us rather than just rather than trying to pursue every small little gain. It takes a lot of patience in the market, and I think that's what separates people from being successful in the market and ultimately losing everything in the market, right? 95% of traders, they say 90, some say 95, some say 98% of traders fail in the market. And we need to make sure that you guys are mentally prepared and sharp. And guys, lesson number 9. Lesson number 9, you guys have seen me do it and execute it so many times. My scalping strategy, right? I've got a very specific strategy. I did not invent it. I'm sure there's a lot of people using it, but for some reason, it is such a popular strategy now, and I've made it mainstream in crypto. It's working very, very well. The scalping strategy is how I always look for a few key criteria to enter a trade. And we're talking about criteria such as 5% volatility, at least on an uptrend, looking for criteria such as bearishly diverging RSI, and then we take the Fibonacci retracement range of the entire structure, and then we try to take Fib 382 as a short position, for example, and that's how we always go for these 1 to 3% scalps, and they have been working incredibly well so far, okay? And then when you combine that with compound interest, right? Growing at 1 to 3% per day perhaps of your balance there, but never ever play your entire balance, which we're going to talk about very clearly as well, okay? Lesson number 10, we're going to incorporate RSI, MACD, histogram, price action, and level 2 to the scalping strategy. We're barely going to review RSI, MACD, histogram, price action, and level 2 because that's stuff you guys should all know already based on the previous courses and lessons, right? And once you incorporate these into the scalping strategy, man, oh man, it's going to be in so much detail because I've actually written an entire syllabus for this as well. And each lesson in this video will actually be broken down to many different subtopics, and they're going to have written parts as well, okay? And also, lesson 11, we're going to incorporate Elliott wave theory into all the below lessons as well, or all the above lessons that we've talked about rather. So we're going to talk about Elliott wave theory, RSI, MACD, histogram, price action, and level 2. And we're going to incorporate that into the scalping strategy on small time frames. It's going to be really detailed. I hope you guys are looking forward to this as much as me, okay? And summary of all strategies and all lessons for lesson number 12. We're going to review everything in high detail and make sure that you guys have a thorough understanding. I know that it might seem daunting at first and it might seem like an overwhelming amount of information, but I can assure you that once we review these enough and once we practice and put practice into theory over time, it would be very difficult to not be successful in the market if you have a formula for success. And lesson number 13 is going to be I think all of these lessons are important. That's why I'm saying for each one that they're going to be important. Adjusting mentality when the market isn't as expected. As you guys know, right now is late October, okay? And as you guys know that it's been kind of a slow month. Bitcoin has been lulling, and sometimes it's a very slow market. And we have to know how to adjust our mentality and how to wait for trades to come to us, what to do during these down times. You don't want to force these trades all the time. It's so important for us to understand that we've got to do research, we've got to do technical analysis, we've got to be extremely patient because like I mentioned, it's all a mental game, right? All a mental game. And lesson number 14 will be 20 live trades. This will be this right here. It is Udemy's, okay? I'm making 20 trades for you guys. I've started with a $10,000 balance on here on a new account on Bitfinex here, and I'm going to try to grow it as much as I possibly can over 20 trades. And so far, we have grown it by a very decent amount, okay? We have grown it over these 20 trades over here. We have a 100% win rate so far, which is actually just incredible. And you guys are going to see through these live trades how I'm able to make from a $10,000 account in literally 1 month a 25% gain. Now that might not seem like much to you, but think about that for a moment, okay? If you start with a $1,000 balance, well, can you guys grow it to $1,250, 25%? Yeah. Well, what's if you started and then what's 25% of that next month, and then 25% of that next month, right? So this is how it's going to be relating to this right here. Understanding compound interest and setting realistic goals. So these 20 live trades, it's going to be much more detailed than their normal trades. For example, each one here will actually cover a very detailed outline of each trade as well, as you can see here. So who am I? I'm 34 years old and my full name is Silicon Fatmani. That's who I am. And I'm sure that you guys have seen a lot of my videos before, and you've seen my sense of humor, and you know who I am already based on my personality and what I've been doing in the crypto space. But because you've purchased this course, I want to let you guys know a little bit more about me, because I want you to know who you're trusting to actually provide this information to you. So you guys have earned the right, and I've also earned the privilege to be able to speak to you as well. So thank you very much for letting me into your lives as much as you're letting me into your life as well. So guys, I'm 34 years old. My name is Silicon Fatmani, and I grew up incredibly poor. That's right. My parents are from a country, and so am I. I'm Laotian, from a country called Laos, okay? They came to Canada in 1985. But before that, they had a really long journey. We're from Laos, which is the third poorest country in the world according to GDP back then. So in 1980, okay, my parents fled their home country or our home country. I wasn't born yet, okay? And they paid a fisherman who owned a boat to basically smuggle them from Laos to Thailand. And they saved up their entire life savings of $2 American, which took them a really long time to save up actually to hire someone. But that was actually that was actually a lot of money back then. A lot of money to them, especially. That could have let them live for like a month, believe it or not. And if they were caught, they would have been shot dead. It was a very violent time back then. And yeah, they got to Thailand safely in 1980, where they actually lived on a refugee camp for 5 years. That's right, from 1980 to 1985, they lived on a refugee camp. It's kind of sad when you think about that, right? And the conditions were actually so poor that I'll tell you more about it in a second, actually, okay? And then in the last year in the refugee camp, 1984, that's when I was actually born. So I lived in that refugee camp for about a year. But it was so poor there, guys. The conditions were horrendous. And just so you guys know, my dad, to this day, he only has one kidney, okay? He only has one kidney. And he told me that he lost it in the refugee camp because of malnourishment. But what I personally believe was that he sold it. He's never confirmed it, but I knew that he lost his kidney right after, or shortly after I was born in the refugee camp. And, you know, people definitely sold some organs. I've heard many stories to get by back then. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to believe. I'm sure my dad was just being a dad and telling me what I wanted to hear, which was not to worry about him, right? But what I'm getting to is that's how poor they were, right? They barely got by. So many people died in the refugee camp, guys. And I lived there for a year. And then a year later, 1985, that's when we got our Canadian citizenship. Woohoo, let's go to Canada and start a new life, right? And I have a brother as well. I'm not very close to him whatsoever, but he's 2 years older than me. He was in the refugee camp for about 3 years. So when we came to Canada, my mom and dad didn't speak English whatsoever, right? But they spoke French because that was our second language, kind of like how French is our second language here in Canada. So we lived in Ottawa. Actually, sorry, we lived in Hull, Quebec for the first few years, and then we moved to Ottawa. But what I remember was that because of the language barrier and because of the lack of experience for work in Canada, they had a very hard time getting a job. Not only that, when they did finally find jobs, it was always a very manual or laborious type of job. For example, my dad delivered pizzas, my mom worked in a factory, you know, for a long time. And they always maintained 2 jobs each, either a full-time job and a part-time job, or 2 full-time jobs where they would literally, or my mom was home with us, right? So she didn't work as much, but my dad was always working, you know, like when I think back, it's kind of sad, right? He was always working 16 hours a day. Yeah, that's crazy when you think about that my dad actually worked 16 hours a day, sometimes even more from what I remember. And it brings back a lot of memories actually talking to you guys about this right now, about thinking about how hard we had it growing up, right? And yeah, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about me. So when people actually say things to me like, oh, you're only making a lot of money because you're playing with, you know, $50,000, $100,000 position sizes, it's as if I was actually born with that much money. And it's as if my parents, you know, they were sitting on this massive retirement fund or something, or some fund that, or some estate that they were given when they moved to Canada. Now, guys, I've earned every single right to play the amount that I play because of 2 reasons. 1, I've worked up from the ground nothing, just like how my family did. And 2, I've also earned the skills to play this position size. Does that make sense? Okay? Playing a large position size is not a privilege of wealth. Okay? It is a privilege of earning the right to play that much because you've now obtained the skills. Does that make sense, guys? Okay? So if anybody ever says to me that, hey, You're only making a lot of money from your scalps because you have 100K to play. Well, by the time you guys are done this series, you're gonna realize how long it actually took me to work my way up to play with that size. And I used to start with very little, guys. 3.5 years ago, I've lost a lot of money in the market. And you know, this is stuff that you guys need to hear. You need to hear it because it's all about this. It's all about mentally preparing yourself. You know, as crazy as you guys think that I am in terms of personality, right? It's mainly because it's improv, guys, okay? I grew up, you know, enjoying acting, right? I really enjoyed it thoroughly. And the majority of my antics is actually just to make you guys laugh. And it's all pure humor and fun and games at the end of the day. But when it comes down to it, guys, in the market, I'm stable as a rock, as you guys have seen, okay? And during this series, you guys are not going to hear me make jokes. You're not going to hear me get off topic or go on a tangent. It's going to be a very serious course. And the reason why is because I want you guys to be successful and I want you to see my professional side. Yes, I actually do have a very professional side that's on point, that doesn't swear, that's very respectful as well, it's very kind and compassionate, right? Basically, typical traits of a professional working man in a white collar job, because that's actually where I come from. What you guys see on Twitter and on YouTube is just me completely joking around and being my complete self. That's actually who I am. But you guys have earned my respect and my time to deliver professionalism to you while you watch and go through this course. But first of all, you need to learn where my heart is and where I actually come from. So once again, guys, I've earned the respect. I've earned not only the respect but the privilege. Okay, well, let's backtrack there. I've earned the privilege to play these large position sizes. Once again, I wasn't handed 50K, 100K. I've earned it because I have played from such a small amount and have lost so much money in the market. It's unbelievable how much money I've actually lost in the market when I actually think about it. It's ridiculous. But guys, like I always say, without the bad, there is no good, and you don't know how to appreciate it, okay? And without the sour, there's no sweet. So because of all of these negative and horrible experiences that I've had in the market, I'm able to sit here today and show you guys a winning strategy that I've developed specifically for myself. Now, that your job as a trader who's still learning is not to treat my style as the only style, okay? No, that's not your job. Your job is to be exposed to as many possible styles as you possibly can. That is really important. Because if you're learning from people like myself and other traders out there who actually show proof in the pudding of their trades, of their success rate, of their profits, those are the people that you actually want to trust. The guys who are just posting charts, and they say things like buying at this price, I got out this price, I made this much profit, make a video of it, show a screenshot of it. Actually, not just a screenshot, but make a video of it, of you actually live trading, right? And that's why I'm trying to show you guys my live trades, because I believe that some people can just talk the talk and they cannot actually walk the walk. There's a lot of wannabes out there, in my opinion, that are just trying to post these charts, that are trying to reel you in so you guys can actually subscribe to something for them. They see you as money. I don't see you guys as that. And I'll be very frank. I know that this course of mine has been recommended to sell anywhere between 2,000 to 5,000. Even the first one. I could have made a crap ton of money, but I don't value myself in that way. And I'd rather value myself in a small way by charging a very little amount, because it is my time and everybody's time is worth something, right? While also giving and undercutting the competition at a severe rate. And we all know that my courses, it's not to talk myself up. It's just giving respect in the market to at the level where it's deserved, right? And I know that these kinds of courses, because I've done my market analysis, I've seen what these courses sell for. And they do sell for between $2,000 to $5,000 for things that are much less comparable. But my point is, guys, make sure that you're learning from multiple people as well. The people that are trustworthy, the people that have earned the credibility over time. So you will take their style, you will take my style, and eventually we will mold your style. And I know for a fact that my first course has tremendously helped you, right? It has. That's why you're here watching this second course with me right now. And I'm going to take you guys to another level and show you guys a lot of the things in much more detail. Do you know why it will be in much more detail? It's because now I've also gained a more experience when it comes to conveying my information in a much more concise manner. So because I've now obtained the skills to speak more clearly to you in a way that I think my viewers will understand, I think that you guys will be able to absorb more information as well. It kind of goes both ways. You guys are helping me, I'm helping you as well. So anyways, I'm going to motivate you guys. I just want to give you guys a little motivation about where I come from as a person, right? My background and what drove me. So, my parents, even when I was in high school, guys, I never saw my dad. Honestly, I never saw my dad except for like the weekends. And my dad on the weekdays, right, when I was in high school, he was working as a substitute teacher. He could never, you know what? We were in Ottawa, and then he moved to Winnipeg, Manitoba by himself, right? And my mom was working 2 jobs just to support my brother and I while we were like, 8 and 10 years old. And then my dad went to school in Manitoba here to get his education degree. Yeah, he came before we moved here. He actually had an education degree in geography and in French as well, believe it or not. Of course, it wasn't accepted here, so they forced him to go back to university for 2 years. So he moves to Winnipeg by himself to go to school with a student loan, while my mom worked 2 jobs to support my brother and I. Eventually, we followed my dad to Winnipeg, right? And that's when I was about 9 years old in grade 4. And then when my dad graduated, I was like in grade 6, 7. And then my dad couldn't find a job. He never had a full-time job ever. All that he ever did was substitute for like 20 years. Not 20 years, for like 15 years as a substitute teacher because he just couldn't find a job here. But while being a substitute teacher, you know what? He was also a janitor at night, working another 8 hours. 9 till 5 as a teacher, and then from basically 5 till midnight as a janitor as well. And then my mom worked in a labor job for her whole life, 25 years in one company, bending her neck down where she's got neck pain and shoulder pain to this day, working for a company that binds books, where she just worked on one machine her whole life. So that was my motivation, guys, honestly. It's really upsetting me right now talking to you guys about this, that my parents were my biggest motivation in life to succeed in this market. Now you guys ask yourself right now, honestly, where's your motivation gonna come from? Because I'm looking at you guys in the eyes right now and I'm asking you, where are you gonna find the strength to succeed in this market if it's not for family and to better yourself? You know why I wanted to better myself, to be quite honest? Because I didn't want to be like my parents my whole life. They taught me really good values. Don't get me wrong, okay? I think I'm a pretty decent person because of who they are and because of what they've taught me. Super good values in the family. I don't look down on them in any way. But at the same time, it doesn't mean I should have to want to be like them. I don't want to be like them in terms of dedicating my whole life and basically being a slave to society and working your butt off and believing firmly that the amount of time that you put into a workplace is directly proportional to how much money you make. That is absolute bull, in my opinion, okay? That is what you call hard work. You know what I believe in? Working smart and hardly working instead. And that was my motivation to succeed in this market. And I put in tears, blood, and sweat, man. And I've lost so much money in this market. But I wanted to value my time. Because time is the most precious thing that we have in life. Does that make sense? Remember these words, what I am about to say, okay? I am not wiser than you. You are not wiser than me. We are all people of equal levels with different backgrounds. We are never above. We are never below. We're always on the same level, just in different places in life. But remember what I am about to say. And what I'm about to say is that we are nothing but a special guest in our own life. That's right. And because we are nothing but a special guest in our own life, well, It's going to be a very short life, and how are we going to make the best of it? How are you going to make the best of it? You guys should say to yourselves, you have no choice but to want a lot better and to want a lot more. And that's what I've been saying to myself for the past 3 years, 4 years now almost. I want to be able to value my time. I want to be able to go on a journey and discover who I am and what this world has to offer other than working my ass off every day. And trading is not just a journey for profit, it's also a journey of self-discovery. You will absolutely get a chance to figure out what kind of person you are and especially what kind of person you are not. Whenever I am exposed to a new experience in life, I don't ask myself why I should. I ask myself now why I shouldn't. And that's something I didn't know about myself before. If you guys met me 3 years ago, you would have thought to yourself, this guy was a really boring person. Excuse me, my hair's a mess now. This guy is an incredibly boring person. And I was actually not spontaneous. I wasn't really fun around. I wasn't really positive. I was actually a very negative person and very high anxiety. But now, guys, I'm traveling a lot. I'm having a phenomenal time. I'm getting to see the world. I can work anywhere. I'm finding out who I actually am. I'm finding out that I want to be the kind of guy that's going to help other people succeed. I'm finding out that I'm the kind of person that likes to dedicate and donate my time to doing free things to help people improve their lives in general. So I hope that that gives you some emotional motivation, okay? Because really, if motivation comes from within, right? It doesn't come from just money and profits. It comes from hearing stories about other people and their actual walks of life and where they've come from. And you guys know that I was a horrible employee at every job. A horrible employee. I've been fired from many jobs before. I was so lazy at every job. I was always trying to take shortcuts through things. I was always late. I was so lazy. Nobody liked me at work because of my work ethic in general. But it's always because I knew that I was meant for something more, which is the stock market. Or which now I know is the stock market because, well, this is where I am today and I'm incredibly happy, right? The stock market is like the most special job in the world and it's so rewarding, okay? It's honestly so rewarding that I'm incredibly grateful for it. And without it, I wouldn't be the kind of person that I am today. And I really hope that you guys also appreciate what opportunity it might give you. And right now, yes, the market is very slow, but you've got a few choices in this market right now. Are you just going to try to force these trades? Probably not the best idea. Are you going to brush up on your technical analysis and believe that Bitcoin is bullish long term? That's probably one of the better ideas in my opinion. So study up right now, guys. I really mean it. Study up. And don't you dare think for a moment that every day or every week or every month in crypto will always be a month with heavy volatility, because it will not be. You guys already had the opportunity last year, okay? From September, October, November, December, January, March, April. It was so volatile. And big whoop, 6 months on, 6 months off. I don't mind whatsoever because it gives us time to reflect. Lets us be a lot less stressful. We're now a lot more stress-free, right? We're a lot more stress-free. We don't have to worry nearly as much, and we get time to actually sharpen our skills for the next time that we do get this bullish run. And trust me, guys, this bullish run is going to come down, okay? I've had massive success in this market, okay? I'm able to do a lot of things that normal people may not be able to do, whatever normal is, right? I'm able to do a lot of things that I wouldn't have been able to do as a mechanical engineer in the industry, working as a chilled beam designer or working in the construction industry for, as a project manager for HVAC, right? That's right, guys. I used to do estimates. I used to bid on commercial jobs for HVAC. I'd subcontract out. That's what I did. Sometimes we were the generals, sometimes we were the subcontractors. We worked on really, really big bids before. If you guys are familiar with Women's Development Hospital or Women's Redevelopment Hospital in Winnipeg, I was part of that bid as well for the HVAC section, doing all the piping. And yeah, there's been tons of jobs I've been a part of, and it was a very rewarding job, but it wouldn't have been able to provide me with this lifestyle that I have now. And I'm just going to show you guys a little bit about my lifestyle. You know, hopefully I've motivated some of you guys, you know, speaking personally to you on a very emotional level, because like, once again, guys, you have to figure out why you're doing this and what do you want to change in your life, right? And where are you going to find the motivation to do it? And we're going to talk about a lot of these things throughout the course. You guys know a lot of the material already, but I firmly believe that the best traders out there, they firmly know how to distinguish between trading and the psychological and the mental side, right? And the emotional side. And I if someone had to ask me what is my strongest strength when it comes to the market, or strongest strengths as in plural, I would tell them, one, managing my risk and laddering. Those two things. And two, just being stable as a rock and being able to rationalize, right? In terms of emotions and psychology wise. I know I don't talk a lot about it in my Twitter or YouTube, but this is a side that you guys are going to see on a more advanced level than what the public generally sees. And let me show you guys a little bit about my lifestyle. Now, if you know, a few months ago, I didn't want to leave my city because I was more so worried about my parents, right? They're really old. They're in their, you know, late 60s and 50s now. They're 10 years apart. My dad's almost 70. My mom's almost 60. My brother doesn't live here anymore, so I wanted to live a lot close, or stay a lot closer to home. And they were, you know, they're getting old. I want to spend more time with them, right? But they kept encouraging me, go do it, go do it, go do it. My friends kept encouraging me, go out, just go travel. So I finally decided to travel. I could have done it like a long time ago, but I finally found the courage to just do it. And I broke out of my shell, and I really hope that you guys break out of your shell as well, you know? So once again, I'm definitely very happy with the position that I'm in now in life, in terms of being happy with myself, finding out what kind of person I am. And also, importantly, I'm very happy with the profits as well, right, guys? I mean, I'm the reason why I do what I do on Twitter and on YouTube in terms of showing my profit is because I want to be able to walk the walk as much as I talk the talk, right? Like I talked about earlier. I want to be able to show proof in the pudding that my strategies work very well. Not only that, if you see someone else doing something right and they are showing you step by step how to do it, it should motivate you. Do not ever think for a moment that it is bragging, okay? It is far from bragging, guys. It is trying to show you guys that it's proof in the pudding, and I'm trying to actually inspire you guys, to be quite honest, okay? You know, I'm not really that big of a car guy. When I grew up, I had a Nissan Silvia, right? I had a 240SX. I had a Fair Lady as well. I'm kind of a big Nissan fan, and I don't like to buy extravagant cars. I'm from a city, guys, that gets to -40, and we've got snow from September till April. It makes no sense to buy a supercar in any way. So yeah, I walked into a dealership one day and I bought a Nissan 370Z in cash. Literally, just gave them $35,000 in cash. Super happy with it. Color's a little bit off. That's the actual color. It's just the other ones had a little bit of a filter. I love it. I got the option of, you know, getting like a really expensive Bose 6.2 speaker system in it that could be heard like half of a block away. It's pretty awesome. It's wicked. I love it. It's 323 horsepower, rear wheel drive. I don't need a fancy, expensive $100,000, $200,000 car. This one makes me happy. It makes me feel like I'm you know, sticking to the Nissan fan, and you always got to do things that make you happy. I live in a beautiful apartment in my city. It's one of the nicest buildings in the entire city. It's well more than 20 floors up. It overlooks 2 rivers that join up, and if you look down, you see the river right there. That's where I threw my $10,000 Rolex off of the balcony. That's the computer room that I trade in, as you guys probably know already and have seen, right? Beautiful room. I've got my 2 cameras set up there. You guys know my 49-inch monitor as well there. And I wouldn't have been able to buy all these things if it were, you know, me working in a normal job. And even working in a normal job, I wasn't able to afford these things. I mean, if you think of just making even $50,000 a year, right? They say that you should only dedicate about 30% of that to your actual rent, right? So if you take $50,000, okay, right, and you know, do the tax, it ends up becoming, let's say you're keeping, you're paying 40%, so you have 0.6, right? So then you can only take 30% of that, which is about $10,000, right? $10,000 divided by 12. Well, you shouldn't really be renting anything more than $800, right? Is kind of what they say. That's kind of the average math that it works out to be. If you're making 50K after taxes said and done, right? That's kind of what you should be dedicating to rent. Maybe 1,000 at most. This apartment of mine, I paid $2,500 for it a month. And the day that I signed the lease, I didn't want to worry about month to month. So I literally handed them a $30,000 check and said, here you go. And I was able to do all this because of crypto, you know? I'm able to do things like get nice furniture. And guys, this is not bragging. Don't you dare take that the wrong way. Okay? This is trying to show you guys my lifestyle as well and some of the small luxuries that I can afford. Now, you know, I'm no crazy billionaire. I don't buy yachts. I don't have $500,000 cars, right? I'm just a normal guy that really tried to work his way up to somewhere that gave me a lot more time to value myself, that could let me be more free. Okay, I'm not some guy like Grant Cardone, you know, that real estate mongrel who's trying to sell some packages or anything like that. I'm just a guy that developed a really good strategy that is absolutely killing it in the market, and I happen to have a lot of followers that respect me, and I also want to show you guys how I did it, which is fair, right? I have a really big guitar collection. I collect a brand called Seagull. It's made in La Patrie, Quebec. This is a window, like my apartment here, it has floor to ceiling windows that are 10 feet high, all glass. If you stand here, you're gonna feel pretty scared standing there, I assure you. I got this desk, it's a beautiful desk. This whole setup was about $12,000 to $15,000. It's a sit-stand desk, awesome 49-inch monitor. This is kind of the view when I'm just kind of chilling here and just looking at it when I'm working from home. You guys remember my setup, right? At home. It's pretty cool. I do miss it. It's a completely open loft. It's about 1,200 square feet. Got another guitar out there as well. Yeah, I don't have a picture during the day though. Open kitchen, lots of bars. I decorate everything myself. I keep the bedroom here because it's more dark and it's close to white noise fans. It's kind of cool. Yeah, I do love it. You guys, it's hard to believe, right guys, that I actually decorated this myself. You know what I mean? It's really hard. All my friends are like, there's no way you decorated this yourself. I'm like, yeah, I actually did decorate it all myself. I love my TV. It's an 82-inch TV. Now, I know a lot of people have more. They have a lot less. That's not the point, once again. Okay, guys, I'm just showing you guys my personal story to be proud of my own accomplishments, right? And I want to show you guys where I actually live as well. Some people still think that I'm living in my mom's basement, but I'm definitely not, okay? I like my bathroom products. I like to buy a lot of lotions and soaps and weird things like that as well. Anyways, I just want to show you guys a little bit about me. And, you know, I've been traveling a little bit as well. I've been in France mainly. I went to Romania recently as well. If you guys know Valcoin, I went to go visit her. So I'm visiting friends here and there that I've met on Twitter in the world, which is kind of cool. Getting to stay in really awesome 5-star hotels, beautiful places. Yeah, this bathtub was awesome. Anyways, and then I got to go to London recently as well. You know, I get to go see places, and this is only in the past month that I've been traveling. It's gonna happen a lot more. Stayed in another 5-star hotel, checked out the St. Paul's Cathedral, and this was on a whim. One day I just got up and I said to myself, I feel like going to London. And that I did. Kind of cool. I've been going a lot of places as well in France. Went to Montreal recently as well, seeing a lot of cool places, living in a lot of cool places, eating a lot of good food all the time. Really awesome. Met some really good friends there in Montreal, cool followers as well. Had a really big party. It's really cool to be able to travel and meet a lot of people. But you know what? Despite how social I am, guys, I'm still actually very, very introverted, believe it or not. You guys all know my little dog Luna as well. These are the things I love a lot in life. I love to be able to travel. I love to be able to play with my dog. Animals are a big part of my life. I actually miss her a lot right now. If you guys don't know, I'm actually, my friend is actually getting a dog. I'm helping her get a dog, so this is not exactly my dog, so I'm going to be very clear about that. But whatever, adopted this husky. It's half husky, half Pomeranian. And you know what? I was very scared to come to France, guys. But I actually found love here. That's the absolute truth. I never thought for a million years I would find love here. You guys know how I met her? I'm going to tell you guys how I met her. I had the flu, okay? I had the flu, and I went to the doctor's office, which was right next to my flat. And in comes this girl who's, I kid you not, probably just as sick as I am, okay? And I kind of play the victim card, right? And I need help. I don't understand French, but I actually understood French pretty well. So she walks in, and I'm like captivated by her. Just, you know, she's wearing no makeup. She probably felt like she thought she was ugly or something, right? That's what she told me later. So then I don't have insurance there, right? And the doctors or the receptionists, they don't even speak any English. So, but I understood what they were saying. We were trying to figure out how much I needed to pay up front, and in comes this girl. And I start just saying hi to her. You know, we're both petting this little dog there. And then I say to her, can you translate for me, right? Yeah, I'm like, can you translate for me, right? What is she saying? What is she saying? And then this girl, I don't want to dox her, right? And say her name. She's translating for me, right? She's like, oh, you got to go to the pharmacy and get this and this. And I know my way around pretty well already. I'm like, oh, where's the pharmacy? Can you tell me? And she's trying to give me directions. I'm like, oh, I'm so sick right now. I have no idea where it is. I'm like, can you just walk me to it if it's really close? So then she walks me downstairs. She walks me to the pharmacy itself, and I was like my normal self, sort of, right, in terms of being charismatic and outgoing and very friendly. And I'm like, you know what? I don't know a single person here, and sometimes I might need help. Can you actually just give me your number? And I took my phone, and I'm like, I gave it to her on the spot, and I said, just put your number in my phone. I didn't even give her a chance to think. And then she didn't want to be rude, obviously. It's one of my lines, right? So she takes my phone, puts it in there, and she calls me up a week later. And we just completely hit it off, right? And she actually was about 2 hours away out of town from where I was, from Marseille, because she was visiting somewhere else. So she's invited me to go see her 2 hours away. And I literally hop on a train, and I go there to see her, right? And now we're actually really close, and I feel that I found love here. Close enough to be able to get this little guy. I bought her this little guy as a gift, actually, because she's always wanted a dog. He was about 5,000 Canadian dollars. He's coming from Ireland on November the 2nd. And I actually can't wait to get him with her. It's going to be her dog, just to be 100% clear. But yeah, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about me, you know. I've been everywhere in Marseille already. It's beautiful, and this is only one of the cities that I'll be traveling. This is what crypto can do and hard work can do, guys. It can give you a lot more freedom. And to be quite frank and 100% honest, I could retire today if I wanted to and live off of interest. But I choose not to, because crypto is still very fun to me. I want to be able to do something with my time, and I want to be able to pass on more information to you guys as well. So I'm trying to inspire you guys in two ways, right? Just to show you guys the emotional and the human side of where my motivation came from because of my family, and also just showing what an average guy who came from, you know, nothing has now come to in his life. I don't think that I'm, you know, some super duper wealthy guy. I'm not trying to portray myself in that way at all. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm just trying to show you where I come from and how proud of myself I am now. Like how I want you guys to also be proud of yourselves, okay? And this is just to show proof in the pudding of what some things can do, right? I don't really think that I spend a lot as much as some people think I do. But, you know, my being rich is having awesome people in my life. Okay, and being able to enrich myself with very kind people and hear stories of different walks in life, and that's very important to me. Okay, I love to go see cathedrals. I've been to pretty much everywhere in Marseille here. You know, I'm getting to stay in really nice hotels, 4-star, 5 stars everywhere, as you guys can see on my Twitter. This is one of my views that I had from my hotel of the Old Ports. You know, recently I just rented a yacht, and this is kind of my lifestyle, guys. I wanted to rent a yacht for my girl, just to surprise her. And that's exactly what I did. No kidding.
All right, so this is what I rented.
Yeah, it's kind of cool if you guys missed that, right? It was pretty cool. She was very impressed, but she's not the kind of person that gets impressed by these kind of stuff. So anyways, just to show you guys a little bit of my spending as well, and a little bit of kind of my other side of what I do when I'm not trading. So I hope that this has given you some sort of insight or benchmark in terms of what can be accomplished in 3 years, because that's precisely how long I have been trading for now, roughly. And I do believe that it has been incredibly rewarding in so many different ways. And I really do hope that you guys continue to work extremely hard yourselves, because I do think it's going to ultimately be very, very rewarding. Anyways, I'm going to end this as lesson number 1A, and there will be a lesson 1B that will talk about the actual market, and we won't talk too much about the personal side whatsoever, and we're just going to keep it just business, okay? So get ready for lesson number 2 that's coming up. That will talk, or sorry, 1B coming up once again. That's going to talk about how I view the market and just kind of my general mentality of the market as well. It won't be too long of a video because it's only part B. So thank you very much for joining me for this specific course, number 2 of Udemy. And I really hope that we can journey through this together. But more importantly, I hope that I can change your life as well, because I know that cryptocurrency has certainly changed my life. So have yourselves a great day, and thank you very much for tuning in with me. Bye now.